And welcome back, everyone, to the Crash the Pond podcast. It is a Tuesday, September 23rd edition of the pod. Jake, happy fall. It is officially fall.
Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah. Happy Rosh Hashanah.
Yes.
Lashana Tova to everyone out there.
But happy fall. Are you putting up pumpkins? Are you putting up skeletons? What's the vibe?
There is actually a pumpkin on my porch, but that's because I was at Costco this weekend and they were $7 for a large pumpkin. So I got one and was told to put it on our porch. So there is a pumpkin on the porch.
I just realized you're bringing back one of your worst bits.
Which
for
one?
those who can't see, for those who are listening on the recorded version, Jake is rocking a sleeveless shirt for the podcast.
This is actually one that I purchased without sleeves, though. Unlike the other ones I've worn, which are I cut the sleeves off. This was a pre-purchase sleeveless.
Yeah, I'll give you a little credit. This one is a little more classy than your usual like thin strip down the middle. I mean, it's because you set the bar so low.
Yeah, just great.
But it looks better. It looks better. Keep it that way.
Thank you. So you're saying I should buy more?
No,
and have a rotation on the podcast.
I mean, I'm fine with you make it your thing. Do what you got to do. You can be like, what's his name, Pat McAfee. How he do the sleeveless shirt thing?
Does he?
He used to, I think.
I don't know.
He does the standing up mic, and
yeah.
I can't. That just looks weird, and his audio is always off. Anyway, that took a turn.
That did.
Ducks preseason, 2 games, 2 big ones, 2 games to talk about. Mason McTavish contract controversy continues. As of the time of this recording, Mason McTavish is still not signed a contract, so we will get to that. But before we do, the whole reason that we do the show, the whole reason that we do all this is to talk about the hockey, to talk about the stuff that happens on the ice. So why don't we start there? The Ducks have 2 preseason games in the books. Number one was this past weekend against the LA Kings down in Ontario. Do we consider Ontario part of LA? Is that LA?
You're just going to continue this from the Patreon episode, aren't you? Greater LA area, yes, but technically Inland Empire.
It's IE?
It's IE. Someone's going to get mad at me about that.
I think you may have said somewhere that Inland Empire is LA, but
I said it's like part of the greater LA County, or not LA County, greater LA area.
To be fair, you did also say that about Orange County.
I did.
So direct your hatred towards Jake, please.
Sure.
But yes, there was a game in Ontario at the Ontario Reigns Arena. So we got a decent camera angle, decent-ish broadcast. Oh, well, actually, I watched the Kings stream, so I can't even comment on the Ducks broadcast. But some interesting kind of lineup going into that game. You had Cutter Gauthier on a line with Ryan Poehling and Beckett Sennecke. And then after that up front, it was kind of not the most intriguing. You had Nestorenko, Harkins, Colangelo as your second line, but Harkins got hurt early in that game.
Yeah.
And then that bottom six is giving AHL vibes.
Yeah. This game kind of felt like a bit of a continuation of rookie camp, or of the rookie tournament. Not necessarily that to that extent, but it was in the sense of, I feel like with the rookie tournament, for me personally, you're kind of watching a line or two, maybe a couple players, and then that's kind of it. And you're able to, I don't know if zone out's the right word, but tune out a little bit with some of the other guys. With this game, it kind of felt in that same vein. Sidorov, he's not going to make the team. Tim Washy's there, but I mean, really, you were kind of watching for Beckett Sennecke to be able to see how he's doing.
Sidorov right away. Okay,
I'm not writing him off. He's just likely not going to make the team. There's a lot of people there. I mean, you also had Pavel. The decor, I think, was more intriguing of Pavel Mintyukov, Tristan Luneau, but then after that was Connor Smith and Ian Moore, and then Cian Solberg and Noah Warren. So. It was really kind of Mintyukov and Luneau to see how they're doing. And so this kind of felt very much you watch for specific players, kind of analyze those players, but overall there's not going to be a whole lot to glean either way from this game.
Yeah, the Ducks lost that game 3-1, and I'm only saying that because someone might be wondering, but you kind of hinted at it there. I'm not really watching for how well the team is playing, at least not once camp is just starting out, maybe later in camp, maybe by the time we get to the 10th preseason game. Just kidding, it's only 7. By the time we get to the 7th preseason game, maybe you're looking for a little more cohesion. But right now it really is just in kind of like individual player evaluation. And I know that there's been a couple people I've seen talking about the team systems. And again, it's just one of those things where it's really hard to evaluate the team play when this isn't the team. These aren't the guys who are going to be on the team.
Not only that, but also the quality of opponents. Like when we get to the Utah game, like I think that the team the Ducks rostered there was a lot better, but we've seen the Ducks play well in years past against bad teams. And so you really need to wait until you get into a situation where you're playing against actual NHL quality talent. And while there were some people on that Utah team that were that was a much weaker Utah team because I think they actually had a split squad for that. So that's just one word of caution of any, and granted everyone should have this with having any takeaways from a preseason game is, yes, you can try to look for systems. Yes, you can try to evaluate these guys. But at the end of the day, the quality of competition is not going to be where it's at. The level's not going to be there. This, at the end of the day, is a preseason game and shouldn't have any grand takeaways from it.
Yeah, I do think that even with the individual players, it is kind of tough because they're playing with some of them are playing with brand new line mates or line mates that are getting mixed and matched. The pace of the game is all over the place. I mean, depending on what line is out there, it looks like a completely different sport. I mean, like in the game against Utah, when Terry or Granlund or those lines were out there, the Ducks looked like a real dominant team. But then when they came off, it looked a lot different from that. So you can't put too much stock into it. But I think that this is all we have.
Yes,
this is an opportunity for certain players to make an impression. The players certainly view it that way. And so that's why we do still evaluate, because it does matter to a lot of these guys, in terms of making an impression, either to be like a first call up during the season, to make the team, or what have you. Like there is still an importance to these games for certain players.
Yeah, that's a good correction. I think that's where the evaluation of this comes into play.
Yeah. So why don't we go from the net out? We'll go from the net out. And I do want to highlight that in this game against LA in Ontario, Ville Husso looked really good.
Yeah.
I don't know how many saves he made, but he made quite a few, and he made some very difficult saves. And I guess we can just kind of leapfrog to it. But, we did see Peter Mrazek against Utah last night. How are you kind of gauging the backup goalie situation for the Ducks right now?
I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, let me ask you this. You asked me a question. I'm going to throw it right back at you with a question.
Okay.
What are the chances the Ducks go with 3 goalies on the roster?
Ooh. Man, I would say kind of minimal.
Minimal, but it's not non-zero. It's not zero.
I don't think Husso's getting claimed on waivers. I actually don't think either guy's getting claimed on waivers.
Correct.
Because Husso's 2 years on his deal, and Mrazek has a 4.25 cap hit. So I feel like they can... you never know, because teams are really desperate for goalies. I mean, apparently there's like a derby for Carter Hart's services right now.
Ugh.
Which, for a few reasons is annoying. But so maybe they do just keep 3 because of the fear of losing a guy in waivers.
Yeah.
Is that where you're going with this?
That's exactly where I'm going with it. And also it may just be a situation of, you want to keep them up. You don't want to worry about losing one to waivers, and they're both playing well enough that they're going to get games here and there. And it allows you because I forget the exact podcast. I think it was probably Kevin Woodley on the PDO cast, to be honest. But he had talked about the fact of it's nice every once in a while if you do have a third goalie that your starter, when he is off, he is not backing up. He is allowed to just have a straight night off. He doesn't have to go through his preparation, doesn't have to do any of that. And so that allows you on the nights where Lukas Dostal is not starting, you can just give him a full night off.
Yeah, and especially because I think in this setup, it's very clear who the number one is. Yeah. It's not like you have 3 guys battling for a spot. It's you have your starter, he's going to get the lion's share of the games, and then Mrazek. And I mean, I think part of it too is just I don't think there's a clear edge between either guy right now. I think the Ducks like Ville Husso. They signed him to a 2-year deal. They got Mrazek back in the Gibson deal. So I think it's maybe a little bit of an open competition right now.
And to get back to your original question about kind of what I saw, like I thought Husso was really good. I think that Mrazek, he wasn't bad. Like he allowed one goal. Like
yeah,
I think that the quality of chances he saw was a lot less than what Husso saw. So from that evaluation, it's really hard because granted, Husso allowed 3 goals, Mrazek allowed 1, but the quality of chances against was significantly higher in the game that Husso played in. And I think to that end also, like Husso last year played really well for the Ducks and in the few games that he played. And so there is that familiarity there. And Peter Budaj, right, is still the goalie coach for the team.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is the one that would have worked a little bit with Husso at the end of last year. So there, as much as Mrazek most like you would assume he's the one that's going to be the backup, I would not be surprised if it does end up being Husso.
I wouldn't be surprised if Mrazek gets traded at some point. I mean, it just it just seems odd, this whole setup. Because down in San Diego, you have Klang, you have Budajec, you have Sukanek.
It's a lot of goalies.
It's a lot of goalies, and I guess you need goalies for Tulsa. But yeah, it's. I think if I had to bet on it, I would still say somebody gets sent down because I don't think either guy's getting claimed. But it's just not out of the question. I think just eye test level, and this is partly based on what I've seen in the past. Mrazek is just not a goalie that I really enjoy watching because I feel like he's very frantic in the net. It just nothing really looks easy in his game, and there are games where he can really just stand on his head and make a bunch of difficult stops. But there are other games where everything looks really difficult and he's getting shelled. So I do like Husso's kind of just calmer game a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. I feel like signing Husso to that contract, we talked about it over the summer, but that left the door open for kind of this exact situation, basically.
Yeah.
So anything else on the goalies? That was way more than I expected, to be honest.
Nope. I think that's it. Excited to see Dostal when he gets in net, but that's it.
I'm excited too, because he's got those new pads that came out this year that look kind of like the old school Coho pads a little bit. I've seen a few goalies wearing those, and I'm just glad that we're making goalie pads cool again because all the 3D printing and whatnot, it's just not for me.
The most stylish goalie of all time is Jonas Hiller.
Yes. Well, on the Ducks, in the Ducks franchise.
I said I didn't say that. You said that.
Well, I think we had a debate about this summer, and I think I was Team Jaguar. But
I think it's Hiller.
Or no, actually, no, I was Team Hiller, and a lot of people are Team Jaguar. And I think Jaguar had some really nice pads, but they were never as flashy as
Hiller's pads were so nice.
I'll just never forget the ones he wore at the was it the Stadium Series against
All
LA?
Orange?
Yeah, I mean that layout of pads is basically what Dostal has this season.
Yeah,
it looks good. Anyway, no one's here for this. Moving on in that game though against LA, let's go to the blue line here and a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde situation where I'll start with the good. Tristan Luneau looked NHL ready in this game, and yeah, it's a big proclamation. It's preseason, blah blah blah. But he was manhandling people. He was just shielding the puck with his back, with his butt, and people were just bouncing off of him. He was just kind of bullying his way along the boards. He was making smart decisions with the puck. He was aggressive at the offensive blue line. He still has the skating. He still has the speed. Tristan Luneau right now, for me, looks like the future of the Ducks blue line on the right side. Like he looks like a guy you just can't go without.
As you're saying that, do you think he's the number one right-hand shot defenseman on this team right now?
I think in the organizational depth chart, more with a long-term focus, yes.
I'm not even talking that. I'm saying removing long-term focus. That's not saying he's a number one right-hand shot D on
Is he the best? Is he the best right shot D on this team?
Yes,
I think so. I mean, Trouba and Gudas might be better than him defensively just because of their NHL experience. But that's, of course, assuming that they are at that level this season, given their age. And then,
also Trouba was not that great defensively. And that, assuming Gudas, goes back to his how he played 2 seasons ago versus last season. Like,
Yeah.
if that happens, then I think you could say Gudas probably ahead of him defensively. But,
Yeah.
I mean, if we get Gudas last year, or Gudas even worse than last year, then I think it's an easy, he's the number one right-hand shot defenseman on this team.
He just looks really good. And, I mean, it's kind of reaching a point for me where, nobody's ever really untouchable in a trade. But if you trade Tristan Luneau, you better be sure you get back a star player, because after him, the right side on the blue line, there's a drop-off. And I like Drew Hellison. I really like Ian Moore. I like those players. But I think Luneau there's a gap between him and those guys. And maybe it's a bit of a rush to a conclusion, but he was really good in the AHL last year. He probably could have come up to the NHL at the end of last year and been good. So this is not like a new thing necessarily. On the flip side of that coin, this is where you do have to be careful. Pavel Mintyukov in this game against Ontario, against LA, was not good. Was actually quite bad. And he wore the A. He was given the assistant captain for this game. And he kind of played like it was just a warm-up, like it was just a practice, like it was just a scrimmage. The effort was not great defensively. He had a missed open ice hit where he just really took a horrible angle, and it led to a 2-on-1 and a goal against. He was really casual with the puck. He mishandled it on a breakout into his own goalie. There were just turnovers. He just kind of looked like he didn't care. And I hate saying that, but that is just how it appeared. I'm not saying he didn't care, but it looked casual. And look, Pavel Mintyukov, 10th overall pick, 2 seasons now under the belt in the NHL. In some ways, yes, maybe his roster spot is assured, but you'd like to see a little more just kind of engagement and get after itness from him.
Especially after a bit of a rough season last year, where
he wasn't good last year,
where it sounds like he was battling a bit of an injury throughout most of the season, and so you'd expect him to come out hot. Having said that, it's one game. Even during the regular season, guys will have bad games here and there.
Yep.
I think that what you take away from this is you almost put this in your memory bank of being, okay, now move on to the next one. Maybe this is just a one-off, but if it starts to become a trend, and trends, especially into the regular season, then I think it's a bit of a cause for concern.
Yes, and especially because there's competition on the left side.
Yes.
His position is not necessarily guaranteed. There was the whole thing last year with the logjam. I mean, you've got Zellweger, you've got Lacombe, and those guys could be the ones on the power play. You've got Solberg, who's not far away. I just think he's playing. That game gave me a little bit of a vibe of, I know I have a spot. I'm just going to feel my way into it, which is fine. And like you said, it's just one game. We're noting it down. We'll see what happens next. We'll see what his next few games look like. It could just end up being a distant memory, just a blip on the radar. But just note it down. I would have personally, for a guy who, like you said, played potentially hurt, also was very unhappy behind the scenes with his playing time, I would have liked to have seen him come out and say, hey, this is what the team was missing out on last year. Don't forget about me. And instead it was a very forgettable night. So moving on from him, anyone else that really stuck out to you in the back end? I mean, we don't have to talk about Connor Smith because I don't think he's making the team. But
let's kind of blitz through this a little bit because I think the Utah game is going to be a little bit more intriguing to talk about. But yeah, Stian Solberg didn't really stand out to me. Noah Warren, I thought, actually looked really good though on the right side. He
looked good again against Utah. So yeah. Do you want to just fold it together here for Warren?
Sure, we can. I think there was one play against Utah that specifically comes to mind where he made just a really quiet play where he was engaged in a board battle, was able to win the puck back, and then instead of rimming up the wall, he makes a play basically to the face-off dot, a very 5 foot pass, that type of thing, that ended up leading to a clean breakout. And not gonna lie, I didn't expect Noah Warren to have even that type of play in his game. Granted, talked about it at the very beginning, the Utah team that was iced was not the best, not an NHL caliber lineup at all. But that was really, I think, surprising to see, to have him not make that kind of simple play up the boards that would just give up possession. Instead, look for the type of play that's there like that. And I always go, people are probably sick of me talking about this, but one of the things I loved about Josh Manson's game was that ability to make that type of pass. And that was what made him an NHL defenseman. It wasn't the physicality, it wasn't any of that other stuff. It was making the 5-foot pass in the defensive zone, not just doing a quick board rim up. And there were a couple of times I distinctly remember in person seeing that and being like, oh crap, this guy's an NHLer. And seeing those plays from Noah Warren made me think, oh, maybe there is something there that isn't NHLer that I didn't necessarily think was there previously.
Yeah, I think that the puck moving looked a lot just cleaner. And I think his skating looks a little bit better too. I think that, with Warren, he's always been a guy where it's kind of like you can see the tools. You can see he's big. You can see he can move decently for his size. You can see that occasionally he can move a puck, but it just never really came together at the same time. And now it looks like he can go into a corner, escape, make a play. He can kind of just put it all together in one sequence. And we just haven't seen that from him before. And at his size, being a right shot D, like if he can keep this up, he's a guy who could earn a call up during the year and potentially potentially find a niche in the NHL down the line. I don't think he's not making the team as of now, but this pretty encouraging because I don't want to say I wrote him off, but in San Diego, he just wasn't really standing out.
Yeah.
And he probably never will truly stand out. Like he's, like you kind of said, his highlights are like a quiet kind of game, which is fine. Like for a third pairing defenseman, that's more than okay.
Yep.
He also did fight against Utah, but I'm sure you're not too jazzed to talk about that.
Nope, nothing really from me personally to talk about there.
And then, the only other note, which again we can kind of combine a little bit here from both the Utah game and the LA game, Beckett Sennecke, Mr. Third overall. So I'll just say this. In the game against LA, he had some moments with the puck where he was making plays. He had actually a pretty nice scoring chance where he just kind of spun off the goal line on his backhand, kind of like Corey Perry used to do, and got to whack at the puck a few times. But he also, he came down in a 2-on-1 and kind of put the puck on his backhand into an area, but his winger Sidorov just wasn't there yet. But then at the end of the game, Ducks net empty. He's at the offensive blue line on the right side as a right shot, goes onto his backhand, tries to float the puck into an area to a teammate. It gets picked off, and the puck goes back the other way, empty net goal, game is over. Almost the exact same thing that happened in the rookie face-off. And that left a pretty sour taste to see that happen again. And overall, I would say that game was better from him. And then I think the Utah game, you saw maybe a little progress there too. So kind of where are you out on Sennecke after these two games?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I thought that from where the rookie face-off games were at, I think he definitely looked improved against the Kings in Ontario. I think he still had a lot of turnovers to his game. I still think he got bullied off the puck a little bit too much, but it did seem like he was having a bit more skill with the puck on his stick, making more plays than he was in the rookie face-off. Against Utah, I thought it even took another step forward where he went from probably being a net... would you say against LA he was probably a net neutral overall? Well, maybe slightly above?
I'd say he was a net negative based on just the turnover at the end.
Fair, but just like overall.
Overall, he was just fine. He was just kind of there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whereas I think against Utah, he was probably a plus. Maybe not an extreme plus, but a plus.
He scored a goal.
Not just scoring the goal, because the goal is a nice play, a little bit of puck luck involved there with the puck getting through some skates and sticks and stuff like that at the front of the net. But he found it and was able to bury it, so he deserves a lot of credit for that. But it also feels like that entire play, like he was attacking guys with the puck on his stick. That was coming to him a bit more naturally there. I don't know if that came largely from, or that came because of playing with Leo Carlson. I'm not quite sure on that, but having said that, it does still feel like there's something missing from his game. It does still feel like it's not fully an NHL ready game. Like he needs
Yeah.
more seasoning. I think it's a bummer that he actually had signed the ELC, that he can't go to college, because I think college is probably the perfect place for him. But he needs another year of seasoning outside of the NHL, and as of right now, the only place that he can do that is in junior hockey, unless somehow the Ducks get an exemption or they try to go the Tristan Luneau, Shane Wright route of just having him essentially be on the roster and sit out, be a scratch for however many games to start the season.
Yeah. So I think overall, yeah, in the game against Utah, he looked a lot more comfortable with the puck. He was making some plays. He had a nice little kind of curl back in the first period where he then kind of did a little saucer pass over a stick, kind of a lead pass for his teammate. So I thought that was pretty nice. He did have the goal, and even though the goal itself was kind of a broken play, I did like the confidence to just kind of go to the net. He was trying to challenge the defender one-on-one, trying to get under his stick and just bully his way to the front. So that's a good sign that he's still trying stuff. And he did have a couple plays where he was kind of spinning off of checks along the wall, and he looked just a little more comfortable. Like, I think each game he looks a little bit more comfortable. But like you said, there are just these moments where you just see that there is a bit of a disconnect. I mean, even the game against LA, there was the goal against where Brant Clark has the puck at the Ducks blue line, and Sennecke comes out to challenge, and he just takes this really bad angle, and he kind of gets danced, and then that allows Clark to come in downhill, and they eventually score. And then against Utah, it was kind of much of the same. I think I'm forgetting now, but if he had another kind of like defensive miscue, and it's not that surprising. He's 19. He hasn't played any pro hockey to speak of. His habits without the puck are that of a just kind of junior player. And there are good defensive players in junior hockey. I should mention that. He is not a good defensive player right now. He wouldn't be a good defensive player in junior hockey either. And so I think you kind of have to take the good with the bad. He, like we talked about last week, he's a bit of a project. Maybe the Ducks will say, you know what, we'll give him a couple games just so we can get a taste of it, and see how that feels. But I do think he's destined to go back to the OHL. And I think some people hear that and they think, oh, that's such a bummer. The OHL, he's already put up a bunch of points. And part of that is true. But I think that Oshawa last year made a push. They could have won the league. I don't know exactly what their prospects are looking like this year to win it, but you can be a better hockey player anywhere you play. You can be better defensively anywhere you play. Like, there are habits, and if the Ducks tell him, and I think it's probably becoming apparent to him in these games that the defensive side needs work, they're going to tell him, hey, these are the things we want you to work on when you go back. He will work on them. He will look to improve those. And, if he gets a spot on the World Junior team, where Canada is projected to have a pretty loaded roster, I think playing in those high-pressure games is going to be really beneficial for him, because in those games, those mistakes are going to be very costly. Canada does not want to have a repeat of what happened last year and the disappointment. He wasn't even on the team last year. So as much as it might be disappointing to think, oh, he's not ready, I still think that there's a great opportunity for him to round out his game, because you do see the flashes. That the offense is there. It's just, if you put, would you feel comfortable with him right now in an NHL lineup?
For the entirety of an NHL season, no.
Right, as a regular.
No. I think give him 3 or 4 games just to kind of see how he does at the NHL level, and then make the decision after that. I think I'd be okay with that. Just to essentially give him a cup of coffee and see. Because one of the things I was about to ask you about as you were going on that is, I was piecing together the top 9 right now. And sans Mason McTavish, there's one open spot, basically.
Kind of?
Unless you consider Sam Colangelo in that.
Yeah. Well, now with Harkins hurt,
sure, but Harkin...
Well, I'm just saying Colangelo might have to slide down to fill that spot. And so that does leave an opening, like you're saying.
But regardless, even removing that part of it, there is a spot in the top 9 for him. Whereas with Mason McTavish back, there's really no spot in the top 9 for a Beckett Sennecke. He would be on the fourth line most likely. So I do wonder, we'll get to Mason McTavish eventually, but if the Mason McTavish situation goes into the regular season, I think that does potentially lead to, even if Beckett Sennecke continues to play in this way, I could see them maybe giving him a few games in the NHL while either until McTavish is signed or he's up to speed and is game ready. And then at that point, you kind of let him be a scratch and then eventually go to the AHL or just send him back to junior right away. And I echo everything you said about him going back to junior. I don't think it should really be viewed as this negative thing. I don't view it in the same way as I probably would have viewed like when Mason McTavish got sent back, where it was the shame in there was Mason McTavish was just going to physically dominate everyone there. And so he wasn't going to have a whole lot to gain. And while you could say the same thing because Sennecke is going to be a lot older than everyone he's competing against, there are a lot of things within his game that he needs to work on still that he will benefit from playing against that caliber of talent. And he's not just going to necessarily bully everyone in the way that McTavish was.
I mean, let's not forget here, the OHL is the best junior league in the world. It's one of the best hockey leagues in the world, period. Like, it's not a walk in the park. And yeah, he's going to put up points, but if Oshawa or if he ends up getting traded or whatnot, they want to win games, like he's going to have to play a winning brand of hockey. It can't just be points. And you see that with certain junior players where in their second or third season or whatever, they start kind of looking for other aspects of their game to start improving. Well, I don't want to talk too much about McTavish because that does influence this. Anything else on Sennecke? Here's another thing I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
The Ducks want to make the playoffs. That is the goal.
Yeah.
It's going to be very difficult to make the playoffs. There are a lot of teams that are vying for those wild card spots in the Western Conference, including one that we just saw last night, the Utah Mammoth. They are a team that could be the one to make that jump this year. Can the Ducks afford to have Beckett Sennecke in the lineup as kind of a little bit of I don't want to say a handout, but a little bit of just kind of hey, we're going to give you this experience?
I think they can if the alternative, and this is not a shot at Sam Colangelo at all, but Colangelo is a really good player, but he does not have the offensive upside that a Beckett Sennecke does.
No.
He is much more stable, much more everything like that. But I think you can stomach Beckett Sennecke being protected a bit, and you put him with more defensive forwards from that top 9, and you see if maybe he can help light some things offensively. If that does not happen, then you send him down and go from there. But I think that if Mason McTavish signs prior to the season starting, then no. Like, Beckett Sennecke should be sent down. Like, that's the reality of it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just if you are serious about making the playoffs, I just don't know you can really justify having this guy on the team. But
don't disagree necessarily.
That's where I'm at on that. Anyone else that stuck out to you in these games? Any other players that you want to highlight or low light?
Are we talking about Utah or are we talking about the LA game?
Either game.
All of it.
Either game, yeah.
Utah game, let's see. Jackson Lacombe looks really good. He looks like he's kind of just picking up where he left off last year, specifically in the offensive zone. Really dynamic in the offense. And I thought Drew Hellison played a really nice game also. I thought he activated nicely. He scored. That one was kind of a bit of a lucky goal. But actually the nicer play was the second goal where he makes the play at the blue line, gets the puck to the front of the net, and Matthew Phillips ends up tipping it in. Yeah. Matthew Phillips had a really nice game as well, but likely just an AHLer there. Let's see. Noah Warren looked good. I'm looking at the lineup right now. I don't.
Any first impressions on Chris Kreider? First game as a Duck?
Nothing really too much. It's preseason, but
he was kind of out for a skate as well.
Yeah, I don't love Vetrano, Strome, Terry being a thing again, but they were fine in this game. But it was Utah. Like, I'm not gonna. It was Utah's like B team.
I'm not really reading into that line being together. Is that? Am I just in denial?
Yes, you are in denial.
Because I think when you factor in Granlund, Killorn, and McTavish, I do think that. And I mean, who else am I missing here? Gauthier wasn't playing in this game either. I feel like I would be a little surprised if that line was still together with those other options available. I mean, because it would be Gauthier taking Senneca's spot, on with Carlson and Kreider, and then what
Yes.
you're gonna do Granlund, McTavish, Killorn? I mean, that doesn't seem like that clear of a line.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think it's just what I'm kind of sensing from Joel Quenneville right now. Which, by the way, first two Joel Quenneville coached games that we've seen, I feel like he's just kind of experimenting. I feel like he's trying stuff out. There are certain things that are starting to emerge, like Gudas Zellweger. That does seem to be a thing that's not breaking up. Lacombe Hellison,
Yep.
same thing. And then Trouba and Minchikov, we haven't seen them together, but they have been together in the practices, it seems.
Well, I'm curious to see where Luneau ends up in this situation. Maybe he ends up with Lacombe.
Well, Luneau's going to get his crack at some point.
Yeah,
I think.
exactly.
Yeah. But it's funny because I was listening to Quenneville's. I was watching his presser that Derek puts up on YouTube, which people should check out.
Go subscribe to Derek's channel.
And you can just tell this is like not his first walk in the park. Like he is not, preseason is just not life and death for him. These games are very much just feeling things out, seeing how the guys look. Which I feel like in some ways is a little bit of a contrast to Cronin, where everything always felt very, very important. And maybe part of Cronin's mandate was like the culture setter. But I think that there is a value as a coach to like, hey, let the guys just kind of feel their way into the season. Obviously, you want to set a standard, but you don't have to be taskmaster from day one.
Yeah.
Only
other thing from the Utah game was I thought the power play, because LA game, not really main players on that team that were going to be on the power play, but in the Utah game, there were a bunch of players that were going to be on the power plays, and it did look like the puck movement was a little different. It did seem like they were more about moving the puck all around, having players moving in addition to that, kind of what we've been calling for. But like every caveat we've had, this was a Utah team that was not great. Who knows where this goes once the regular season begins.
I did want to say that Olen Zellweger looked really good. I'm really rooting for him because he is the guy who just always kept his head down last season during all the logjam silliness and never really missed a beat when he came back into the lineup. So he made a really good first impression for me in his first preseason game. And again, like it could just mean nothing. It's the same thing as the Minchikov conversation. Like Minchikov's bad start could mean nothing. Zellweger's good start could mean nothing, but it's just nice to see the best foot be put forward right off the hop. So
what did you make of Granlund's first game as a Duck?
I was about to bring him up. I thought he looked good. I mean, he looked like Mikael Granlund. He was making plays. He was kind of all over the place, creating. I think if I'm misremembering here, correct me, but I feel like there was one moment where he was a little caught in the defensive zone, like on the PK, they had him out there, and he was caught out of position a couple times. He had to block a shot with his groin or something at one point. He looked a little shaken up after a shot block. So you could see a little bit of the whole spectrum where the defensive game was a little shaky, but the playmaking was really good. I'm excited to see him with real line mates. And I mean, all due respect to Matthew Phillips, all due respect to his hat trick, but
how dare you disrespect the short king?
He is short for an NHL player.
He is very short. He is 5'8".
He is 5'8", which means he's probably 5'7".
Yes.
Apparently, Mikael Granlund is very short as well. I think
also short king.
We had Patrick say that he thinks Granlund is 5'8". So kind of ironic that Verbeek brought in a short king. It's like, hey, Pat, as it turns out, these shorter guys can be pretty good hockey players too. Anyway, so yeah, good start for him, but more to come. I'm not really making up my mind on anybody too early here, except Sennecke, I guess.
Yeah.
I think with Sennecke, it really just is one of those things where, like, if he was ready and kind of on it, you would be able to tell, with two rookie face-off games and two preseason games. Like, I think it would start being apparent. So for me moving forward, I'm kind of not really going to be grading him on that curve anymore. It's going to be more of like, how does he look game to game? How is he adjusting? And maybe he does get to a point where he looks ready, but I don't really foresee that. So should we talk about Mason McTavish?
Yeah, let's do it.
There hasn't really been much in the way of updates since. I mean, he is not signed, but there was something that came out today.
Well,
Frank Seravalli.
Also, since we last recorded a main show, there's actually been a lot that's come out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because we've done a Patreon.
We did a Patreon. Sorry.
Okay, why don't you recap it because you're the insider.
Basically, I think last week Elliot Friedman and Pierre Lebrun both had said that essentially there's a wide gap in AAV, and I think both also said that basically they're also not on the same page from a term perspective. That Friedman had said they're thinking long term. I think both sides had agreed to long term, but I think probably not the exact number that they were doing. I think Chris Johnston also had a report similarly to that yesterday. But the big thing from last week was Dave Pagnotta from the fourth period came out and said that the AAV is just significantly far apart. That the Ducks were looking at $5.5 million. I think it was what the reported offer
for 5 years.
For 5 years, and then McTavish was looking for 7 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
And so
that's right.
That's I think kind of the latest. I'm just trying to find the exact Chris Johnston quote if I can find.
I mean, all the quotes are kind of the same. Some version of it's not close. We could see.
Yeah, I mean, Elliot Friedman said it doesn't sound like that one's progressing very far right now at all. That was, I think, today he said that. Chris Johnston, on McTavish, said the sides aren't in the same ballpark. Doesn't sound like there's really been a whole lot of movement.
But then we had the Seravalli update, which is very different from all of this, which is that they have settled on the term.
Correct.
What do you make of that? That is very afoul of everything we've heard from everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to make of it. It could just be it could be similar to Friedman in the sense of maybe they've just both agreed to do longer term. Maybe it is they have settled on a term, but it doesn't necessarily contradict what also has been said about the massive difference in AAV. And also, I think he did follow up and say they're not in the same ballpark in terms of AAV right now.
Well, I think it is positive that at least one half of the equation is figured out, assuming that that's true.
Sure.
I mean, unquestionably, that's positive. I don't. What is the caveat on
that? No, my caveat just is like the term's the easy part. Like agreeing.
I don't think so.
Two sides agreeing on the same term side, but being $4 million apart in AAV, while being positive. Like, sure, but it's a very small positive spin on it.
So let me ask you this: what term do you think they're at? What do you think they settled on?
My bet's 6 years.
That's where I think too. I think that. So then, what do you think the terms are right? Or sorry, where do you think they're at on AAV?
Oh, I think the Ducks are at 5.5, and like I do believe that. Like,
you think they're below 6 on 6 years?
Realistically, I think that Mason McTavish's camp is using the Matthew Nyes extension. And we talked about this on our Patreon episode, but it is a really easy comparable for his agent. Very similar in terms of points totals last year. I think it was 4-point difference. McTavish has more points overall. Really quick, want to mention this because Kadeush brought this up. Pags and Seravalli have poor track records with Ducks info. It's hard to bank on their info. Seravalli actually has been correct a lot more than a lot of people would want to give him credit for on the Ducks. Just want to put that out there. The key thing is distinguishing between what his opinion is and what the actual information is. That's been always what the important thing with Seravalli is to distinguish, because the actual information he's put out there has always kind of seemed correct.
Yeah, I think there was just one time where he said something about Gibson being traded soon, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, and then the flip on Zegras, and then Zegras gets traded. But
he was pretty adamant the whole time that Zegras was going to get traded, and then it did happen. So
yeah. But going back to what I was saying with Nyes has similar point totals last year. McTavish has more point totals overall. Like, this is just a layup from his agent to say, hey, similar ages, similar totals, did it with less talent, playing in a more premium.
Is a center.
McTavish is a center. Like, this is a 6-year, $7.75 million contract. And I would not be shocked if the Ducks are looking at the $5.5 million that Dave Pagnotta had reported. Like, I think that they view it as they gave Trevor Zegras, 5.5? Granted, 3 years.
5.7, yeah.
5.7 over 3 years, and he did a lot more than McTavish did coming off his ELC.
Yeah.
And granted, more term, but I would hope that Pat Verbeek understands all that, but part of me believes that if there is this wide gap, right, and if Mason McTavish's camp is using this 7.75, that would lead you to believe that 5.5 is probably true, right?
Well, that was on 5 years, though. Now we're talking about 6 years.
So do you think it's higher on 6?
I think it's like 6 by 6 if it's 6 years. I mean, doesn't that make sense? The AV has
no,
to
100%. It should.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think these guys are like completely irrational. Completely.
Fair.
I think it's 6 by 6 on the Duck side, which I think is low, which is too low. I mean, it's clearly like well below market for what McTavish is worth. I think that if I were to guess where it ends up, it probably ends up somewhere between, it's either 6 by 7 or 6 by 6.75 would be my guess.
I think he ends up at 6 times 7.5.
I hope he does. I mean, that is what he's worth.
I mean, I think genuinely,
he's worth more.
Yeah, he's worth more than that as the cap's continuing to rise. But I think it's a large gap when you're talking about over 6 years. I think this is going to drag itself out.
Well, also the difference between 6 and 7 in the NHL in terms of perception too is pretty large.
Yeah, and I think also from the perspective of, you think about the pressure points in this negotiation, and we talked about this on the Patreon episode, but realistically, like, camp started. And so it's essentially who's going to blink first. What's the pressure point? The pressure point is the season starting. And if Mason McTavish truly does want to get the contract that he wants, or thinks that he deserves the Matthew Knies contract, then the pressure point goes on to the Ducks once the season begins, and if they are missing him in the lineup. That is how he ends up getting that contract that he deserves. Because if there's this large of a gap at this point, that is what would cause the Ducks to come up there.
The thing I still don't understand from the Ducks' perspective is why 6 years?
Because 5 year, it only buys 2 years of UFA status, right?
Yeah.
Why not do 8?
I think that they really care about keeping his AAV lower. That's the only reason that would make sense. Because if you go to 8 years, then yeah, you have to get into the high.
You're buying more UFA years.
Yeah. So I think that they just want to pay him the least amount possible. I mean, that's really what this seems like it's about, which is a bit of a shame. But at the same time, I get it. The team doesn't want to overpay. It's just, you have to consider like the optics of it all and kind of the fact that you are managing a team. Like it is different than when you're an agent who's just like banging the table for your guy.
This is now the third straight higher first round pick that Pat Verbeek has had to sign as an RFA with no ARB rights. All 3 of them went into training camp.
Well, Eric asked in the chat how many holdouts next year, because you've got 4 different RFAs with Gauthier, Carlson, Zellweger, and Minchikov. And I think Lacombe too?
Lacombe has ARB rights, though.
Okay, that's right. So he'll be done before. But you could have 4 guys potentially in the same situation next year. Like, this just isn't a viable situation. No. Yeah.
Like, realistically, these conversations with his agent should have been happening last April. Like, the fact that I guess is my frustration of this as a fan, is that why are we in training camp in this far? Why are you just agreeing on this term?
Yeah.
What have you been doing? What have you been doing all summer? What did you do? Like, realistically, they had from April on. How many months is that now? That's 5 months. They've had 5 months and they just agreed to a term.
Yeah.
That's bonkers, right? Like, that's bonkers for a guy that you're going to commit 6 years and over, like, depending on where it ends up, but over $6 million for sure to
$42 million
like,
potentially. Yeah.
The fact that this is dragging out, and then Pat Verbeek at training camp says it's a bummer, it's a disappointment that he's not here and he's missing out on this stuff and all that type of stuff. Like, my frustration with the comments there is that take ownership of the situation.
Yeah.
3 straight guys this has happened to under his watch. Well, now it's happening to another, and if this is truly a disappointment, look in the mirror and realize that there's something, like, what should you have done differently through this process to not have it dragged to this point?
Also, 3 different agents, a different agent each time. You can't just say, oh, it's just a difficult agent. Like, agents are all difficult, by the way.
Or those players were asking for the world and we had to, like...
Yeah, like, it's clearly the common denominator is Pat Verbeek and Jeff Solomon. Yeah. And it's also it just rings really hollow because Mason McTavish is a top 6 center of the future and of the present for you. He's a guy who's been talked about as potentially wearing the C one day. Everyone talks about how beloved he is, and it's just the fact that they're just now getting to business. It's like, why isn't this a priority? Why isn't this top of the list? Like, make your homegrown talent the priority. Why is it that UFA, the draft, like, why is it the guys that are actually on the team, guys that you drafted, guys that are going to be there, that are going to go to battle for you in the playoffs, why are these guys on the back burner? It just sends a very strange message to your core, because let's be honest, in the NHL, your core is the thing that gets you there. Like, it gets you over the hump. Like, yes, you need depth, all of that, but if you don't have the core, it doesn't matter. And I'm not saying that they're in danger of losing McTavish, but make people feel like they are important. Why? And people will respond to that. Oh, well, he's going to get paid. He's going to feel important once he sees the checks. It's like, these guys are all rich. They don't live in the same world that we do. The numbers don't mean quite the same. Like,
and they more so care about the comparison. Like,
they care about their comparison. They care about how they're treated. They have been treated like kings their whole lives, and now you're kind of flipping it on them. I'm not saying you have to cater to them, but it's just kind of a decency. It's like building a company culture. Do you want your employees to feel valued or not? And to me, like, I wouldn't feel super valued if I had to argue tooth and nail to get a market value contract.
Especially if I saw that 2 of my friends had to go through this already. Because McTavish was tight with Zegras, tight with Drysdale.
And they've both since been traded.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I mean, while we're on this, Anaheim CJB says maybe Verik thinks dragging out negotiations as late as possible will make Mason's side cave to a lower number.
Oh, that's for sure the approach.
That's 100% their approach. He is hoping that Mason is missing out on camp. That's making him want to go, and he's just going to tell his agent, take what they're giving me. And that is the approach of they are grinding him down. They're using that as the pressure point for him.
And I respect the agent and the player being like, no, I'm calling your bluff. I'm not going to fold. Why would I? Why should I be the one getting grinded down so I can lose a bunch of money over the next 6 years? Like, no, I'm just not going to stand for it. So there's just a way to do this that doesn't involve this like ridiculous drawn out process.
With Zegras, it was a drawn out process, came to a fair market deal. I think it was reported at the time that the Ducks had to come up on that one.
Well, also Verbeek literally said on Friday, I think, like, all of our deals in these situations have been fair market value. It's like, so what you're saying. And
I mean, I think he was trying to say that in the sense of he brought the players down, but
obviously he's not going to come out and say we got a great deal and like say that we basically like stiff the player, but
and I think that with the Zegras, like, I think it was reported that they were way lower than where they ended up at. So it's not as if that was their number and waiting into camp brought that number down and they got a sweetheart of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a bit tiresome. It kind of sucks to talk about.
Yeah.
People get really mad at us. It's like, oh, you hate the team, you hate Verbeek, blah, blah. But like, how many times does it need to happen for people to get somewhat miffed about it? I don't know.
It's frustrating as a fan of the team to see this happen. And to Eric Reyes' point, like, how many of these guys, like, why
next year could be a problem.
I mean, I come back to this. Why is Leo Carlsson not signed to an extension right now?
Well, I think he might just not want to.
Why? But why would you not just offer him 8 times 9?
I agree. I think that. I wonder if the Ducks have done that. I kind of doubt it.
I doubt it as well.
But I could see his camp just being like, no, we're going to give this another year, and increase our position.
Maybe.
So, it's just unfortunate because you just know that the reaction from a lot of people is going to be, oh, well, you just don't know, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, fine. We can just agree to disagree. Have your take.
Marshall Klein in the YouTube chat says, love the hard-nosed approach with homegrown talent while at the same time grossly overpaying UFAs.
Well, that's the other thing. People will respond to that. Oh, well, you shouldn't be comparing those two because it's 2 different situations. And it's like, in some respects, it's true that when it's a UFA, the team doesn't have the leverage it does with RFAs, so they do have to act differently. But when it's so stark, when it's so extreme, I do think that probably just doesn't rub people the right way. So, Uh, we'll see what happens next year. Like, this is 4 guys, and again, 4 key pieces. We're talking like your franchise player in Leo Carlsson, and not far behind in Cutter Gauthier. You like how, it's the F around and find out theory. Like, how much can you screw around before things can go wrong? And like, if somebody ends up getting traded, it is a failure. It just is. And hopefully that doesn't happen, but that's kind of where we're at. So, okay. Did Jake freeze? Oh no. That is unfortunate. Let's see here. I am getting... Okay, folks, we're going to pause this for now. I'm getting a text from Jake that the computer has randomly reset and he needs a few. No clue what happened. Okay, so what we're going to do is, to kill the time, if you have any questions or any topics or anything you want me to just drone on about, put it in the chat. I will address it, and we will hold down the fort until Jake comes back, because this has got to be a team effort here. Anna CBJ or CJB is saying, look at my GM, dog. We're never getting out of this rebuild. I mean, that is the question with Verbeek, right? Is he's drafted a lot of the pieces, but is he going to be the guy to bring in everything else and kind of put everything together? Like, he's gotten the ingredients, but is he the guy who can actually get the recipe done? And that is the question. So good comment there. Let's see. Anything else that I missed earlier in the chat? Sennecke looks scary, according to Lucien. I don't know in what respect he looks scary. Might have to clarify that. Let's see. What else is there? Skadoosh said, I thought Granlund looked like the only playmaker in the preseason game. Troy Terry looked pretty good as well. I will say that. Terry looked good. Even Sennecke had his moments of making plays. It's just the issue with Sennecke is that the other half of that equation is the defensive game. But yeah, looking at the RFAs for next offseason, I'm just going to go down the list here. You have Cutter Gauthier, who's an RFA, Leo Carlsson, RFA, and then you have Jackson Lacombe, who's an RFA, but he does have arbitration rights. And what we've seen with the Ducks RFAs who do have those rights is they do elect for the arbitration because it puts a deadline on the negotiation. It makes things go quicker. They get their contract earlier in the summer. They don't have to deal with this. Then you have Olen Zellweger, who's an RFA. You have Pavel Minchikov, who's an RFA, and those guys don't have the arbitration. So that's going to be interesting. But, and I've heard this a lot, that the Ducks are hardballing Mason McTavish so that they can save money next summer. And if you look at the Ducks cap sheet for next summer, they actually have a ton of cap space. They have, I believe, in the neighborhood of $50 million in cap. So I don't really quite understand what the logic would be there. They're not really saving any money, maybe long term if they want to add a big free agent at some point, but they have no issues with cap space right now. In fact, they have a really good looking cap sheet. Jake M asked in the chat, if we flip to a buyer at the deadline, who do you think would be the first out as potential trade bait? So that is a great question. So thank you for the question. I think that there's a few candidates on this team. So I'll just run down the list. You have Ryan Poehling, who the Ducks got in the Zegras trade. He is a UFA this offseason. He's got a very low cap hit, 1.9 mil. So he's a guy that you could very easily flip at the deadline because he's not going to be a big burden on anybody's cap sheet. And he's a useful bottom 6 piece. Those guys do tend to get dealt at the deadline. So I could see him being an attractive piece. Ross Johnston is a UFA this summer. And I think that I don't know what contender would want him, but everybody wants to be more physical. Everybody wants size, and Ross Johnston certainly has that. And then you have Jacob Trouba and Radko Gudas, who are also in that mix. And I believe Jake has returned. I think Jake has returned or not. So you have Jacob Trouba, who's a UFA. You have Radko Gudas, who's a UFA. And I don't think Gudas would get traded, but I wonder, just because he's the captain, but I do wonder about Jacob Trouba and whether or not he would get traded in that situation. Do I have to add Jake to the stage? Are you live?
Yeah, sorry. I was fixing...
Oh, man.
Needed to fix my speaker. Yeah, that was fun.
That was painful. People had to listen to me talk for 10 minutes.
Yeah, my computer legit said we've like black screen ran into an issue. We're rebooting.
Okay, well, I don't know if you want to... We'll figure out whether we cut out what just happened, but...
No, leave it in. It will be fine.
It was very awkward. I apologize. Fine. But thank you to the people who put in some questions. That was very helpful.
You're saying you don't want to do a solo podcast ever?
Well, I don't mind doing a solo podcast when I know it's going to be solo.
Fair.
Because I've done live streams on here, and it's been fine because I was prepared. But when my partner goes down, it's like we're charging the beach, and you just get gunned down, and I expected us to be a tag team.
Sorry.
Makes it a little more difficult. Yeah. So I'm glad your computer works.
It works. It's just Windows 11 has been screwing with it ever since I updated. And so
that's why
it's been fun.
That's why you don't do that.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done it. It was a mistake.
Okay. Well, I think we've covered the landscape of what we wanted to cover.
Yeah.
So should we just do questions or what?
Yeah, let's get to questions. I'm trying to get Discord up also because everything's taking forever to load. So I'll just go to my phone while I wait for it to open.
Okay.
That's my computer.
But yeah, if you have any questions, so now this is our actual question segment. So if anyone has questions in Twitch or Discord, Twitch and YouTube, put them in the chat now.
Yeah, so we're going to start with our Discord, though, our Patreon exclusive Discord. Go to patreon.com/crashthepond. So Drake Duquesne asks us, are we underestimating how much better the Ducks can be with high-end coaching?
Are we? I'll ask you that.
I don't think so.
Well, here's the thing. The coaching should be high-end, but we don't know if it'll be high-end, so there's that. Assuming that it is high-end, you still need the players to be good. And I think that these coaches will very likely help everybody be better and be better at reaching their potential, because we saw the opposite side of that coin last year with one Greg Cronin. But I would just caution to assume that coaching means there's going to be this huge jump, I guess.
I've always said that coaching can account for, I think it's like 10 wins plus 10 wins minus.
Yeah.
This is going to be the true test of that to see how much it actually is going to matter from that perspective. I think in reality, when thinking about this team,
I think for special teams, it'll help a lot.
Yeah, I think it's going to help a lot. I don't think we're underestimating it, though. I think we're being realistic with kind of how much improvement there could be from this team this season.
I think it's going to help a lot.
I think it's going to help a lot.
I think it's going to help a lot. The question is just by how much.
Well, I think the other thing I keep coming back to for this season is, and I guess this is the big question mark for me, is I think we're for sure going to see improvement, but can we expect the goaltending to be where it was at? I don't think that it's a realistic expectation to have that. And so if that comes back, I think coaching's going to make up for that falter. And I think most likely they're kind of going to end up in a similar spot as last season.
Can I make a prediction?
Sure. You think Dostal is going to win the Vezina?
Lucas Dostal will be a top 10 goalie again in goal saved unexpected. I think he's going to be great again.
I think it's possible.
He is the one thing on this team that I think I'm absolutely bullish about. I think he's going to be really good, and I also think his job is going to be easier this year. And
sure.
I think that really matters.
No, I don't disagree that it's going to be easier, but I think that also means he may not be as impactful as a result of that. It's like a catch-22 there from that side of it.
The thing too is we haven't seen him on a good team.
Yeah.
And so he could be one of these goalies who still is very impactful on a good team.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a thing. Andrei Vasilevsky's been elite on a good team. So I don't know. I'm bullish on Dostal, but I do think that the backup goalie question is a bit scary right now.
And I think that's the overall context of this. It's not just Dostal, it's the tandem that comes in.
Should we have a name for this?
Name for what?
The three-headed monster? The
The
menage a
three-headed,
trois?
the three-headed monster.
The menage a trois?
No. Dr. Vertigum, he got mad at me that I said plant wrench on the Patreon episode. Said, are there specific moments or metrics you're looking for that show the Ducks are implementing Q's coaching schemes well?
I mean, first off, I don't actually really know what he's asking them to do because I'm not at the practices or whatever. But I think for me, it always comes down to just the basic. Well, I was going to say basic advanced metrics, but that doesn't really make sense. The basic numbers that we always look at, which is expected goals against, expected goals for, shots against for, shot attempts against, all of that. If those numbers get better, I will assume that the systems, whatever they are being well implemented. That's what I care about. Like, as much as I think that systems matter in the NHL, if your system, you can have the fanciest, most cutting edge system. If you're not getting the results, it just doesn't matter. You need like the numbers don't lie. And that's, I think, where I'm still a bit of an analytics head. I'm not as much as I used to be, but I still come down on, there's tactics and there's ways that teams play. But if those methods don't yield positive numbers, then I just don't care how you do it. Change it. So,
yep. I agree with everything you said. So we got this question on Twitter from Clark saying, I have a question for the pod. What do you think McTavish should get AAV on a 7 to 8 year deal? Is $7 to $8 million reasonable?
Yes, that's what he should get.
I think he should get on an 8 year deal over 8.
Yeah, 8.5. Yeah.
But yeah, I think $7 to $8 million is without a doubt reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, it could very well be what he ends up getting. So.
Yeah. Yep. All right, now Twitch and YouTube. So if anyone in the Twitch chat or YouTube chat wants to put some questions in, I see one right now. Please throw those in. But for those of you listening on your favorite podcast services, you can find us each and every time we go live at twitch.tv/crashbond, where if you have Amazon Prime, you get one free Twitch Prime gaming sub each and every month. You can use it every single month, and it helps out more than you can imagine. You can be just like Brandon Pineda, who subscribed for his 24th month. So thank you so much for that today. Or if you don't have a Twitch account, and you do have a YouTube account, and yes, I know everyone listening to this has a YouTube account, go to youtube.com/crashbond, where you can subscribe to the channel, like our video. It does help so much with the algorithm, puts us in front of more people that are hockey fans, in front of more people that are Ducks fans. So if you like what you're seeing, want us to keep growing every year and year and year that we do this. By the way, this is our 9th season. I think last episode we said 8th. This is our 9th season.
Crazy.
I did the random count on a drive. Skadoosh asked, though, does Dave Manson significantly improve the Goals' young defense?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've heard good things about him, but good coaching is always helpful, but I'm not sure. I guess I just don't really have a way of knowing. Okay. Is that a bad answer?
No, I think that's a fine answer. So I think that actually was the only question that we have, because you answered a bunch of them.
Someone asked, did you know hockey's back?
Yes. It is.
Is hockey back? Is hockey back?
It's kind of back.
Junior hockey's back, if you're into that. The games are raging on in the CHL and in Europe. So if I almost did a Flow Hockey ad just now because we used to have it, but I will not do that. But if you are really thirsty for hockey, there is hockey out there. But as far as NHL hockey, it is kind of a weird time of year because we've been waiting for this to come back. And then the version we get right away is a very watered down version. So that's why I try not to get too up in arms or anything like that.
Yeah. Did you answer all the questions that came in while I was out or no? Jake M said, if we flip to a buyer at the deadline, who do you think would be the first out as a potential trade bait?
I went through every UFA.
Got it. Okay.
I think I said Paling for that.
Okay. And then Skadoosh, I'll let you answer this, saying, when will Reinbacher get good?
So actually, this I thought I might bring this up today, but I didn't know if we'd have time, but this kind of sets me up perfect. So I was listening to a podcast this morning, a prospects show over in Montreal, which no one here could listen to because it's in French. But one of the guys on there, who's a big prospect head, said that he would trade, as the Habs, he would trade Reinbacher for Luneau. That he thinks
wow.
Luneau, that he thinks Luneau is that good. So then I got to thinking, I don't know if I agree with that because Reinbacher was a 5th overall. I really like him, blah, blah. But I do really like Luneau too. So then I went to go DM someone who I go back and forth with, who I really think highly of prospects-wise. This person may or may not work at a popular prospects website. I don't want to just out people in a supposed private conversation, so I'm not going to do that. But I was DMing with someone who does a lot of content for a famous prospects website, and I asked him, do you agree with this take? And they also said yes. And I was like, whoa, hold on. Am I missing something here? I really like Reinbacher, and as a Habs fan, I'm kind of sensitive about it. So I think people are really high on Luneau to the point where it kind of got me thinking, like, again, what I was saying earlier, as far as the right side of the Ducks blue line, like Luneau is a guy you almost cannot trade at this point, or you can't even move. Because if you trade him, the drop-off is just so steep. So coming back to the original question, I think Reinbacher will be good. I still have really high hopes for him. I think he looked good in the AHL last year, but probably needs a little more seasoning. He'll probably make the jump sometime this year or next year, and that's fine.
Yeah. Free said, how much better would the goals be if Troy Terry, Frankie V, McTavish, and Carlson were on the roster?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. They would probably win the Calder Cup.
I thought that was a legit question at first, and then I kept reading. I was like, oh, nope. Okay.
They would win the Calder Cup.
Yep.
I think people are really high on Luneau, and now I'm almost like, are they right? But he's just only been good since he's gotten back to playing hockey after his injury bad luck. Oh, we've got another question.
Let's see. Free said he was trolling. Yeah, sometimes I just read the questions and then figure it out as I'm reading it. So
that makes it better. That makes it more fun.
I'm Ron Burgundy at sometimes. Nerdiest Justin said, probably missed it, but what's the deal with McTavish not being signed? He's supposed to be a long-term piece of our team. Why is Beak playing hardball so much? It's really concerning. Yeah, I would say definitely go back and listen to kind of what we talked about with this.
Yeah. Apparently the streets, according to Anna CJB, I keep wanting to say CBJ.
Same.
The streets,
I definitely said CBJ.
The streets, aka the voices in my head, are saying McTavish 6x7 announcement tomorrow. I mean, I would love for this to be over.
Same. I'd love for him to get to camp. I'd love for him to hit the ground running. Sorry, real quick. I would also love for him to just get paid what he's worth. I am very much like a pro. I know there are a lot of people out there that are
you're pro worker. You're pro proletariat.
Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of people out there that want guys to be signed to the most team-friendly deal ever so that it can be helpful for the team, all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. I'm of the opinion, always with these guys, of they should get what they're worth, and then these are the core players, and you fill in everyone around them. These are the guys that should be paid what they should be paid. It's
also a billionaire writing the checks, so, like...
True,
do we really feel that bad? I mean, there's a salary cap, which... By the way, the owners wanted, not the players. We'll just leave that alone. Yeah, I mean... Oh, we've got a serious question.
From Freeze. Do you think the days of us picking a top 8 draft pick are over? Technically, we were supposed to be 8 last draft, but Islanders used up their lifetime luck.
Yeah, the Islanders now, if you listen around to different prospect pods, are now in the like, oh... they have a promising prospect pool / future conversation where like 6 months ago, that was like unthinkable. They were never in those conversations. And then they got Matthew Schaefer. And it's like, oh, now you're relevant. Now there's hope. Do you think those days are over?
Unclear, honestly. I have a lot of question marks with this team right now.
So what would bottom 8 look like this season?
Bottom 8 would look like of the young guys not taking a step and the old guys getting older.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, could there be a situation where the team is better, but they still finish bottom 8 because of the Western Conference?
Yeah, and also potentially if Dostal does take a step back, if he's not a top 10 goalie in this league, if Husso and Mrazek falter, and they're playing better hockey overall, but they finish with like there's a realistic world where this is a better team overall than last year, but they finish with less points.
I will say this, as someone who is now on the draft beat, number 8 this year could be a pretty damn good player. So I personally would be very overjoyed to have a top player to talk about here, but nobody actually wants that. So
all right, let's hit these 2 more questions, then we'll get out of here. Logan said, what are the odds Quenneville actually plays the best players and doesn't regularly play Johnston, Trouba, Gudis? Trouba and Gudis are for sure going to be playing. That just is what it is at this point.
Look at the salaries, the letters on the jerseys.
Johnston, that's going to be a litmus test for me.
I mean, keep in mind, all hockey coaches, even the great ones, have weird, we'll call them Achilles heels, just guys that play that shouldn't. Like, I think every coach has a version of this. I mean, heck, the Tampa Bay Lightning and their obsession with like Zach Bogosian. Remember that?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't get my hopes up that doesn't happen. But I think that the side issue there is that there's a lot of competition for that Ross Johnston spot. Like at this point, I think if you're playing Ross Johnston, it's pretty clear that you're leaving out a much better player, more impactful player. Like whether it's Colangelo or Nestorenko or even like a Washi. I mean, there's just guys that are more useful than he is. So we'll see.
Yeah. And then Nerdiest Justin said, is there a piece to be added at the trade deadline that you guys think we should go for? Obviously, it's a ways away, but always fun thinking about who you would like added. I mean, as of right now, I think I just kind of need to see what this team is.
Well, okay, let's play it out, though. Let's say that the Ducks aren't a playoff chase.
Okay.
Who do you think the sellers would be?
That's the hard part. I have no clue with this. I mean, the Sharks.
All right, I'll give you a crazy scenario.
Okay.
The year's 2026.
Okay.
The Boston Bruins season has spiraled and spiraled. The team is old. There isn't a lot of help on the way. And decisions are being made in Boston as the Ducks, the ascending team, are showing promise, are in the playoff hunt, are exciting, are playing an exciting brand of hockey. Joel Quenneville is coaching them up. The young kids are putting up points. And the question becomes, leading up to the deadline, will David Pastrnak waive his no-move clause? I could see a scenario.
You go after him hard.
If the Bruins get to that point where it's like, okay, actually, this little kind of retool era we're trying to do is just not going to work. I mean, you circle those waters and try to get someone out of Boston, especially Pastrnak. But I mean, hell, would you consider bringing back Hampus Lindholm?
No.
I mean, he is getting old, but he's still quite good. I mean, his cap hit is also very reasonable.
Left-handed.
So what? I mean,
all of the lefties on this team. I would rather.
Okay, fair enough.
I would rather go with the lefties that are currently on this team from a long-term. Yes, Lindholm's better than them right now.
Fair enough.
From a long-term perspective.
McAvoy. Could he be plucked?
More interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, we've talked about it. The right side is pretty thin. I mean, long term. Yes, you have Morten Helleson, but you don't really know what those guys are going to be. McAvoy and Luneau as your top two. I mean, that would be a full-on fire sale in Boston. That would be things have gone catastrophically wrong. But I think the Bruins might not be good at all this season. I'm putting that out there. I don't know if you've heard that as well in your different podcast listenings, but look at their lineup. It's just not great. So,
yeah.
We shall see. We shall see. Fun show.
Yep. Good
Fun
times.
Show.
You had to solo tap dance for a little.
We're flexing our muscle here. You're literally wearing a cutoff shirt.
I am.
So we're flexing. We're back. We're getting into the groove. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, everyone, for bearing with us that was listening live with the snafu. We'll see if we leave in the snafu or not.
It'll be left in.
We'll see how much work Jake wants to do on the back end.
It will be left in.
Oh, so bad. All right, well, I'll just say sorry then. Sorry to everyone. Thank you for bearing with us. If you want to support the show, because there's a lot more of this where it came from, the number one way to do so is to go and check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/crashthepond. The link is in the bio.
Real quick, I want to give a shout out Freese, who said this is the first time he was able to finally catch us live and just gave us a super chat of $5. So thank you.
thank you, sir. Or, whatever you may be. Don't want to assume. 2025. If you want to support us, patreon.com/crash the pond. For $2 a month, you get access to our patrons only Discord community. And this is a great way to connect with other diehard Ducks fans, as well as with us. We're on there quite a bit, chatting away. Really, I will say that the Discord is in many ways kind of a workshop for us to workshop through ideas before we get to the pod. So it's just a great place to hang out, talk Ducks, as well as other sports. You can up that pledge though to $7.50 a month. So there you get access to 2 bonus podcast episodes, and you also get access to exclusive player breakdown videos. So right now there is one up. It's a shift by shift breakdown of a Beckett Sennecke game from the OHL where it's literally me watching, giving commentary as the game is going on. So go check that out. And if nothing else, you're just supporting us and you're making this thing possible. So patreon.com/crashthepond. Can't recommend it enough. You can also leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. That's totally free. Goes a long way. Subscribe to us on Spotify. Say hello in the Spotify comments. I know that those exist, so do that. Pleasure to hear from you guys. And then also subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where the video version of the pod goes up. You can see when Jake's face disappears from the screen for 5 minutes. Check, there's also videos there posted occasionally, more breakdown videos. And leave a comment. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment, leave a like. So make sure you're subscribing, do all those things. I'm trying to be better this season about replying to everybody's comments. So keep in mind, we are going to read your comments and we are going to reply to them. So be nice, come correct, and we will engage. We will play ball. Check out our pages on social media. Crash the Pond is on Twitter, at Crash the Pond. Jake and I are also on there. Our handles are in the Crash the Pond bio. Check out our site. We've got some merch, crashthepond.com/shop. And thank you to Freeze saying, thank you guys for loving this team. Have a good night. Thank you. And to all of you, have a good night. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.